The afternoon sunlight streamed generously through the tall glass windows of Sterling Corporate Tower, cascading across the polished marble floor in a cascade of golden patterns. The light seemed to dance across the gleaming surface, catching in the brass fixtures, glimmering against the sleek glass panels, and painting a warm glow of the otherwise businesslike lobby. Andrew Martinez paused for a moment to appreciate the view before returning to his work. At 29 years old, Andrew had built a reputation as a meticulous building maintenance specialist. He wasn't just a man with a mop and bucket. He was a quiet caretaker who kept the Sterling Tower pristine, ensuring the first impression of the company was nothing short of perfect. He arrived before dawn most days, methodically polishing, scrubbing, and straightening every surface until the skyscraper seemed to breathe with elegance. He stayed late as well, often long after the executives had gone home, walking the silent halls with the same quiet devotion. For Andrew, this wasn't just a job. It was pride, discipline, and dignity. While others might dismiss maintenance work as invisible labor, he carried it with purpose, finding meaning in making order out of chaos, beauty out of wear. And people noticed, not just the other maintenance staff and security guards who admired his consistency, but even executives who appreciated his unfailing professionalism and the respectful way he treated every person he encountered. On this particular Thursday afternoon, Andrew was crouched near one of the brass handrails in the main lobby, polishing it until it reflected like liquid gold. His reflection bent and stretched in the shine, but his concentration remained steady. That was when he heard it, the unmistakable sound of tiny feet pattering across the wide marble floor. He looked up, and there she was, a little girl, perhaps 4 years old, ran with small but determined strides across the expanse of the lobby. She wore a turquoise dress that shimmered faintly with sequins, catching the sunlight in bursts of sparkle. Her golden curls bounced with every step, framing a cherubic face alight with curiosity. In one hand, she clutched a soft brown teddy bear that had clearly been loved for a long time, its fur worn down in patches from countless hugs. Her other arm swung freely, driving her forward with determination. Andrew straightened slightly, watching as her wide eyes scanned the space. She was searching for someone, her little face set with intensity only children muster when they believe themselves to be on a grand mission. Just beyond her, Andrew noticed a woman in a sleek navy blue suit, standing by the elevators with a phone pressed to her ear. The woman's posture radiated authority, shoulders squared, chin lifted. She spoke into her phone in clipped, efficient tones, not glancing away even as the little girl wandered further from her side. Andrew knew at once the woman wasn't just another employee. She carried the air of command, the kind of presence that shifted a room without effort. He assumed she must be one of the executives, perhaps even someone very high-ranking. The child, however, was oblivious to hierarchy and business matters. Her bright gaze landed on Andrew, and her face lit with an unfiltered smile that seemed to brighten the entire lobby. Without hesitation, she marched toward him with fearless confidence. "Hello," she said sweetly, stopping just a few feet from where Andrew knelt by his cleaning supplies. Her voice carried the straightforward politeness of a child raised to mind her manners. "I am Emma. What is your name?" Andrew put aside his polishing cloth, shifting his full attention to her. A smile tugged at his lips. "Hello, Emma," he said warmly. "My name is Andrew. That's a very pretty dress you're wearing." Emma's cheeks dimpled as she beamed, smoothing the sequins of her dress with her free hand while hugging the teddy bear close with the other. "Thank you. Mommy bought it for me because today is a special day. We're meeting someone very important." "That does sound exciting," Andrew replied, charmed by the way she announced it with such serious enthusiasm. Emma tilted her head, scrutinizing Andrew with the earnest intensity children often reserve for strangers. Her bright eyes seemed to study every detail of his face, as if measuring him against some hidden list of requirements. Then, with total innocence, she asked the kind of question that could tilt an entire world off its axis. "Andrew, do you like little girls?" Andrew chuckled softly at the bluntness, though he answered sincerely, "I think little girls are wonderful. They're smart, kind, and they ask very good questions." Emma nodded with the solemnity of a child conducting an important interview. She seemed satisfied with his answer, her expression settling into certainty. Then came the question that would alter the course of the day, and much more. "Andrew," she asked, eyes wide with hope, "are you my new daddy?" Andrew's breath caught. The words landed with the force of pure innocence, disarming him completely. For a moment, he was speechless. He turned slightly, and that was when he saw the woman by the elevator ending her call and walking briskly toward them. Her face showed both alarm and embarrassment. "Emma, sweetheart," she called gently, though her voice carried no concern. "I told you to stay beside me while I finish my call." Emma whirled toward her mother, her curls bouncing, and pointed back at Andrew with triumphant excitement. "Mommy, I found him. I found my new daddy. His name is Andrew, and he thinks little girls are wonderful." The woman flushed, clearly mortified. "I am so sorry," she said quickly to Andrew, her tone full of genuine apology. "Emma has been talking about meeting her new father today, and I'm afraid she's gotten confused." Andrew rose slowly, still processing the innocent but world-shaking question he had just been asked. He raised a hand lightly. "Please don't apologize," he said kindly. "Emma is delightful. She's done nothing wrong." The woman stepped closer and extended her hand. "I'm Victoria Sterling. Emma is my daughter, and I'm afraid she's put you in a very awkward position." The name struck him instantly. Victoria Sterling, the CEO of Sterling Corporation, the very company whose tower he maintained with pride. "I'm Andrew Martinez," he replied, shaking her hand with quiet respect. "I work in building maintenance here." Emma tugged insistently at her mother's skirt, still brimming with excitement. "Mommy, Andrew is perfect. He smiles at me and has kind eyes, just like you said Daddy would have." Victoria crouched to Emma's level, softening her tone. "Emma, darling, we talk about this. Today we're meeting Robert for lunch. He's the man I've been seeing, and I wanted you to meet him." Emma's smile dimmed, but her eyes darted back to Andrew. Her little voice remained firm. "But, Mommy, I like Andrew better. Can we keep him instead?" Andrew's heart twisted at the child's words. He had met many people in this building, executives in tailored suits, clients who swept through the lobby with a sense of self-importance, but never had anyone looked at him the way this little girl did, with such pure faith and conviction. He crouched down again, lowering himself to Emma's eye level. His voice was calm, gentle, the way one speaks when handling something precious. "Emma," he said, "it sounds like your mommy has made very careful plans for today. Grown-ups sometimes have to make complicated decisions, and it's important to trust that your mommy knows what's best for both of you." Emma considered this carefully, her little brow furrowing in thought. After a pause, she reached out her tiny hand and placed it over Andrew's. "Then if you can't be my daddy today," she said solemnly, "will you be my friend?" Friends are important too. The simple wisdom of her request disarmed Andrew even more than her earlier question. He felt warmth flood through him at the sincerity in her eyes. "I would be honored to be your friend, Emma," he said softly. Before more could be said, a man in a tailored suit approached, his polished shoes clicking sharply against the marble. He was checking his watch, his face set in mild annoyance. "Victoria," he said curtly, barely sparing Andrew or Emma a glance. "I've been waiting upstairs for 20 minutes. Is this going to take much longer?" Victoria rose gracefully, though her expression tightened. "Robert, I'm sorry," she said. Emma wandered off, and I needed to make sure she was safe. "Robert, this is my daughter, Emma. Emma, this is Robert." Robert bent slightly at the waist, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Hello, Emma. Your mother tells me you like dolls and tea parties." Emma blinked up at him, then shifted her gaze to Andrew, as though silently comparing. Her reply was polite, but her enthusiasm had dimmed. "I like lots of things," she said simply. Andrew watched the exchange closely. Robert was clearly trying, but the effort felt stiff, unnatural, as though children were a puzzle he didn't quite know how to solve. Emma sensed it too, that absence of connection. Robert straightened briskly. "Well, perhaps we should get going. I've made reservations at Le Bernarda. It's quite exclusive." Emma tilted her head. "Is that a place where kids can eat too?" Robert's smile faltered. "It's a very sophisticated restaurant, Emma. I'm sure they can find something suitable for you. Andrew caught the flicker in Victoria's eyes, the subtle shift as she watched her daughter's disappointment, and weighed it against Robert's tone. Actually, Victoria said thoughtfully, maybe we should go somewhere more family-friendly. Emma, what sounds good to you? Emma brightened immediately. Pizza, she exclaimed. Then, almost as an afterthought, she added, and maybe Andrew could come too. He looks like he'd be fun at pizza. Robert's face stiffened, the suggestion clearly horrifying to him. Victoria, surely you're not serious. We already have reservations. And inviting, he gestured vaguely toward Andrew. The maintenance staff? That's hardly appropriate. Andrew stepped forward, sensing the rising tension. Thank you for the invitation, Emma, he said kindly. But I think this is a special time for you, your mommy, and Robert. You should enjoy your lunch together. But Emma was not finished. She released her teddy bear to her mother's arm, then reached out to take Andrew's hand. With her other hand, she tugged at Victoria's, creating a small circle between the three of them. Mommy, she said, her little voice carrying unusual depth. I think Andrew understands what makes people happy. I think it would make us happy too. Victoria looked down at her daughter, then at Andrew. Something in her gaze softened. For the first time, she seemed to truly see him, not as an employee quietly buffing the brass, but as a man who had treated her daughter with patience, respect, and kindness without hesitation. Andrew, she said gently, would you join us for pizza? I think Emma may be right. You understand something important about happiness. Robert sputtered, incredulous. Victoria, this is absurd. You can't be serious. Victoria cut him off, her tone firm. I am serious about what's best for my daughter. And right now, that seems to be spending time with someone who makes her feel seen and valued. Robert's protest died on his lips. His jaw clenched, but Victoria was resolute. 6 months later, Andrew found himself sitting on a sun-dappled park bench beside Victoria, their hands loosely intertwined as they watched Emma soar back and forth on a swing set. Her laughter carried to the crisp afternoon air, as bright and unrestrained as it had been that first day in the lobby. What had begun as an awkward, unexpected encounter had grown, slowly, naturally, into something that felt unshakable. Victoria, beneath her polished exterior and executive strength, revealed herself to be a deeply devoted mother, a woman who had been struggling to balance her career with a yearning for a family rooted in love. Andrew, with his steady patience and warmth, became the anchor she hadn't realized she needed. You know, Victoria said quietly, glancing at him, I never properly thanked you for that day in the lobby. Andrew smiled, giving her hand a gentle squeeze. You don't need to thank me. Emma knew exactly what she was doing when she asked if I was her new daddy. Sometimes children see things adults miss. Just then, Emma came racing toward them, cheeks flushed, curls flying, her teddy bear bouncing against her side. Andrew, Mommy, did you see? I was flying. Andrew laughed and scooped her up, settling her onto his lap. We saw, sweetheart. You're a champion swing flyer. Emma nestled into him, her small arms looping around his neck. Then, with a satisfied little sigh, she looked up at both adults. I'm glad I picked the right daddy, she announced matter-of-factly. Robert didn't know how to have fun, but Andrew knows how to make every day feel special. Victoria's eyes glistened as she exchanged a look with Andrew over Emma's golden head. They both marveled at the simple wisdom of the little girl who had brought them together. Andrew pressed a kiss to Emma's curls, his heart full. He realized then that the most important questions in life often came from the smallest voices. And sometimes those questions, like, are you my new daddy, weren't just innocent musings. They were the beginning of a new future, a gentle unlocking of a door neither he nor Victoria had realized they'd been waiting to open. Emma hadn't just been searching for a new daddy that day in the lobby. She had been searching for someone who could complete their family. Someone who understood that true love wasn't about expensive suits, fine dining, or prestige. It was about the quiet, simple joy of belonging, of making each other happy. And in that moment, as the late afternoon sun bathed the park in golden light, Andrew knew she had chosen wisely.